Shivaya, Shivam, Shivaham, Om. Welcome to another satsang with your host, Chuck the Yogi from the Yogi Cave. Let us start with Sadhanapada, the second chapter of the Yoga Sutra. Start with 2.1. Tapaha Swadhyaya Ishvara Pradidhanani Kriya Yoga. Excesses, self-study, and devotion to the Lord constitute Kriya Yoga. So this is a subclassification within the Ashtanga Yoga, which is the yoga that Patanjali is talking about, where the eighth limb yoga. And Kriya Yoga, excesses is just a fancy word. It's saying tapaha or tapasya, or I'm not going to get into the deeper layers of what that means, but it just means, let's just say it means austerity. So let's put it that way. Austerity, self-study, and devotion to the Lord. And again, like we've spoken of before, the Lord in yoga, particularly Patanjali's yoga, is seen as a prop. But it is one of the foundations, one of the three pillars of that subclassification of yoga within Ashtanga Yoga, which is called Kriya Yoga. And Yogananda, who was really the first one, the second one, the second biggest bringer, so to speak, or introducer of yoga into the West, he talked a lot about this particular form of yoga, Kriya Yoga. But just so you know, that's what it is. 2.2. Samadhi Bhavana Artaha Klesha Tam Karana Artashcha. This yoga has a purpose of cultivating ecstasy, as also it has the purpose of attenuating the causes of affliction. So that's the purpose of Kriya Yoga. Attaining ecstasy or samadhi, and inversely, eliminating the sources of affliction. It's one and the same process, but it's a doing, because that's what yoga is. Yoga is a doing. It's not a believing, it's a doing, it's a practice. 2.3. Avidya asmita raga vesha abhini veshaha pancha klesha. Nescience, I amness, attachment, aversion, and the will to live are the five causes of affliction. So anything that gets in the way of samadhi, and inversely with the attenuation of the causes of affliction, are an obstacle. That can be a nescience or ignorance, a sense of myself, attachment of any kind, aversion of any kind, and the will to live. Now, the will to live doesn't mean that yogis are out there trying to commit suicide or anything like that. What it means is that yogis are fearless. And if you understand yoga, especially when it took shape in India in the form of the akaras or the military regiments, you understand what I mean by that. There's nothing too hard or too difficult. There's no vow that's too overwhelming for them to take on. So it's a sense of fearlessness more than anything. 2.4. Avidya kshetram udarasham prasuptatam vichina udaranam. Nescience is the field of the other causes of affliction. It can be dormant, attenuated, intercepted, or aroused. So again, Patanjali, in his usual fashion, is going into details as to what each definition means. And as far as nescience is concerned, nescience or ignorance is one of those root causes of affliction. And as he says, this can be dormant, attenuated, intercepted, or aroused. For example, in addiction, you can be sober for years, and at one point when you least expect it, relapse. Why? Because it is or for a while, for many years even, it was dormant. But it didn't mean that it disappeared. So this is what we're talking about. You can have these things dormant for lifetimes. And until they're all dealt with, there's always that possibility, just like with weeds, that they can sprout again. And the purpose of yoga is to get to those roots and rip them all out. That's what it's all about. And the Buddha, being the most famous yogi of them all, was very adamant in that regards. People can disregard Buddhism if they belong to Sanatana Dharma, but Buddhism is a dharmic path, and Buddha, whether people like that or not, was and is the most famous of yogis, along with Mahavira, who is less well known, but he was a contemporary. But he was doing the same thing, and Patanjali is enumerating and classifying what the Buddha did in his own way, in a dharmic way, in a Sanatana dharmic way, but the process is the same. Alright, 2.5. Anitya asuchi dukkha, anatmasu nitya suchi sukha atma kyatira vidya. Nescience is the seeing of that which is eternal, pure, joyful, and the self, with a capital S, and that which is ephemeral, impure, sorrowful, and the non-self. That is everyday, normal life, right? If I just have my next new car, if I just have my next new girlfriend or wife, if I just get that next new house, or the next new job, or the next new whatever, I'll be happy, right? So that is, by Patanjali's definition, ignorant, because the grass is always greener on the other side. You work for it, you get there, and then all of a sudden you're unsatisfied. If I just have that next hit of heroin, or that next bottle of rum, that's all I need, I'll feel complete, right? Well, it's insatiable. Nothing in the universe will fill that void. Why? Because it's the essence of nescience, or ignorance, to seek in that which is ephemeral and mortal, to seek the eternal in that which dies and fades away and disappears. 2.6. Drig darshana shaktyo eka atmata ivasmita. I amness is the identification, as it were, of the powers of vision and the visioner. That's a technical kind of way of looking at it, but it is the sense of this image right here in front of the screen. That's me. And one of the first exercises that you get to experience in, say, for example, the Vedanta, particularly in the Upanishads, is the process or exercise of neti. Not this, not that. So this image right here on the screen, that is not me. So who am I? Which is an exercise, a very basic exercise that Ramakrishna would offer his would-be students. Who am I? And to reach that core of who am I is what it's all about. Moving beyond this I that I identify with, this changing, ever-changing thing that comes and goes and mutates, is born, matures, grows old, and passes away. Right? So this is what he's talking about. And that, as Patanjali would have it, is one of the sources of affliction, and in the West in particular, it's a great source of affliction. We're under a lot of affliction right now in 2020. And I can assure you that one of the sources of affliction of 2020, of all times, but in particular this year, is that sense of I am. Anyway, I'm not going to get to any more details to regard to that, but maybe 2.7. Sukha Anushayi Ragaha. Attachment is that which rests on pleasant experiences. So I get attached. I like something, I get attached to it. Beer, sex, booze, heroin, gambling, buying, whatever it is, I get attached to it. Sex, whatever, right? That is a source of affliction, because ultimately that something's going to disappoint you, whatever it is, or it won't fill you, or it'll get old and you'll need more of it. So that's a source of addiction, it's a source of affliction. It's one of the things that yogis have to look into in order to overcome and achieve that state of samadhi. But these are the obstacles. I will get more into these obstacles next time around. Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Shivaya, Shivam, Shivaham, Jai Ma, Jai Ma.